What's up, SML? Welcome back to Stone Searching. We are back again, episode 2. This time joined with a completely different panel. We were supposed to have the whole squad. Clink fell asleep before we started, so just do me a favor and pretend that you hear a congested version of Christian Bale's Batman. So instead, I am joined by the other surviving member of the Thanos Club, my man Q. And then, of course, back from the SML dead, the Rowan Ka. What's good, boys?
What's up? I'm here in voice form. I know you all missed my voice so much, so thought I'd stop back by.
Figs actually just recently talked about how much he missed you. I think he insinuated that if he could punch any SML member in the face, he said it would be you. So I'm sure he's
No,
very excited to hear this.
I love that I'm still being talked about weeks after my departure.
Oh, yes, you're going down in SML infamy. Um, so obviously, we are currently at the mercy of EA Sports, just waiting for this patch, which means that right now we are still full on team draft mode. Lots to talk about, lots to cover, a lot of interesting moves. So we got a couple topics here. We got 3 topics. Then we're going to wrap things up with some quick hitters. We're going to give some predictions on Season 1 standings. So our first topic here, we'll start with Q. Which owner disappointed you the most in the team draft?
Yeah, this one is going to be two quick ones for me. I'll say the first one would be Meats going the Dolphins. He, like we all know, he wants an escape artist quarterback. He wants a fast guy, and he wants a running back. As much as we talk about his defense or his running, he also likes to hand the ball off 350 times to a running back, and he's got Tua and Miles Gaskin in those two positions that he really likes. So I would say him going the Dolphins. It opened the door for somebody like you to take the Bills. And if I was of him, I would have took the Bills because it's a lot less likely to get a powerhouse user to take the Dolphins than it would be. So I'd go him. And then the other one that I'd go with really quick would just be um, Colt as well, taking the Rams because he let teams like the Jets fall after him. He let teams like the Titans, I would say, actually, in a division that wasn't too strong. He passed on a couple teams that I think were a little bit better than the Rams, who don't have 2 first-round picks the first 2 seasons. So even with your losing, it's not a lot to look forward to in the draft as far as rebuilding your team.
Yeah, no doubt. Definitely an interesting decision on that. I did say before the draft, I felt like the Rams were a team that could randomly get scooped up. Somebody kind of panic picks real quick, and they just know like 99 Donald, 99 Ramsey. Let me take them.
Yeah,
Uh,
maybe RD's success.
yeah, yep.
Wonder if that
That's
played a part.
that's definitely a possibility. So obviously, Rowan, you weren't there live and in person that we know of. Maybe you dookied in and watched under a pseudonym. Pseudonym? I don't know if I said that right. But what are your thoughts? We sent you the list. You see the divisions. What are you thinking on this?
Yeah, I was following a little bit with the team selection. I just saw the draft order and selection together when you sent me the list over a few minutes ago. But the one that caught my eye that was a little disappointing was Tiny taking the Eagles at 12. I mean, I understand seeing the Giants and to KJ go right in front of them, and knowing his whole division with NYT and Grams going Cowboys, Washington at 7-8. But as fun as it is to play with the division you like, it's also fun to win, and it's not Tiny missed opportunities that would have helped him winning wise with the Niners and the Cardinals, with the Chargers and the Ravens going behind them. So, I mean, I feel like there were teams that Tiny could have picked to be better suited to win. And I mean, I'm not gonna, I maybe not be there to see what's going on in a few seasons, but if Tiny's complaining about not being able to win and not having a roster, I might look back to the September 3rd date when you picked the Eagles.
Yeah, definitely a possibility. It's a team I bashed a little bit when we did a drafting for dummies show. I bashed on them a little. They have picks, they have some youth, but we're gonna see. And they went early. That NFC East filled up real quick. We will touch on that division again later. For me, my disappointment was Dump. He talked a whole lot, which is sometimes a common theme. Leading up to the draft here about I'm going to take a rebuilder this year. I'm taking the Jets. I'm taking the Lions. The Bengals or the Bears. I think the Bears was one of his other ones. And he came up and he's picking somewhat early, a little bit in the middle, and so sure enough he'd have his chances at every single one of these rebuilders. And this man went full 90-degree angle. He said, give me the Cardinals. I want a pretty much already built team that's absolutely stellar. He went back to the NFC West, fled right on out of the loaded AFC, and took a team with, the only division competition at the time was Figs. So, I think I can tell what was going through his head there. I think that was a bit of I didn't have as much playoff success as I wanted last season, and I think that had a lot to do with his pick there. Um, I can't say I was all that surprised. We talked a lot about it. I think Tiny was pretty big in chat, kind of saying, yeah, like there's no shot that Dump is going from the Niners to the Jets. But sure enough, he rerouted pretty quick and went straight to those Arizona Cardinals. So he'll be dangerous in the NFC. But I was a little disappointed. I wanted to see if he could build a squad. So
Yeah,
for
definitely.
go on, did I cut you off?
No. I was just agreeing with you.
Not true. Um, so our second topic here. Grams, after critiquing our last, first episode here, he told us that, maybe we should consider telling a joke here and there. He said it was a little too serious for him. So we'll go with a joke here in the second topic. And it's going to be the AFC South. Wow, this division's bad. We're looking at the Jags with Coop, the Titans with Field, the Texans with ZZ, and the Colts with Mike. This is a division that was not well represented in the playoffs for the Madden 21 cycle. So the question here, this is most likely the worst division, right? And if not, is anybody close? Can anybody compete with this? And we'll kick things off with you, Keeg.
No, it is not even very remotely close, in my opinion. When when you sent me over the list, division wise, earlier today, I was coming through it and I looked at the AFC South. Because the first thing that caught my attention was Colts with Mike. So I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. That's not what I expected. So I looked through the division and I saw Coop, Field, and ZZ with Mike, and I was like, you have to be kidding me. Um, that means that every single season of the cycle, either Mike, ZZ, Field, or Coop will be in the playoffs no matter what. No matter anything else happens, one of those four will be in the playoffs, which is comedic because honestly, all four of them probably should never sniff the playoffs based off last cycle. The only other division that was also a little interesting to me was the NFC West. You have Dump, but then you have Colt, Knoll, and Figs. So you might have one good regular season team there, but if you're looking at playoff wise, you have no good teams there. And then if you have Figs in division, it's just going to drag it down mightily. So that never helps either.
No, I definitely agree with you on that one. Looking at player performances, actually I think Figs in that division is actually tied for most playoff wins in Madden 21. So
Yeah, that alone says enough about that division.
that alone says enough considering he only made it twice and also had an 0-16 season. So things are looking interesting over there in the NFC for sure. Q, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree a lot with Rowan's last team that he or last division that he did talk about, the NFC West. You look at Noel. I know, sorry, Noel. I did see you earlier in the chat. Talking about how your your failures in this last Madden shouldn't, determine who you are as a Madden player. But unfortunately, that's the only thing that I have to see and go off of. So I start with him as the Seahawks. Then you also go down. You see Colt as the Rams. We know Spam Akers is going to get spammed. He did it with Kamara. He's going to do it with Akers. He'll resume that role that RD had him kind of on. And then, like you said, Fig. I like Fig. I love the show. But as much as he did almost beat you, or he came within seven different times. He's not one of the stronger candidates to represent a playoff team. And then you got Dump as the only guy. He is a great regular season guy, but not a lot of noise in the playoffs. So it's just not a division that has, it's not going to be talked about a lot on Heat Check or First and Goal. I don't think this coming up cycle.
Yeah, certainly not. Not unless we start hearing some bold proclamations. We every now and then get them from Dump and Figs, so we'll see. I think the only other division that can make a claim would potentially be the NFC East. Grams with the Cowboys, Tiny with the Eagles, KJ with the Giants, NYT with the football team. This is a division that I believe in the Madden 21 playoffs played 2 playoff games. It could have been more. I don't remember quite how many times NYT won his division, but I know there was a combined total of 0 playoff wins through the 4 teams. However, they at least did make playoffs, which you can't really say about many of the other owners talked about here. So lots to prove in the AFC South, and then in the NFC, the East and the West. The unfortunate soul here is most likely the AFC South division champion every season, who's going to then draw a matchup against like the 5 seed, which is going to be like Dan or me or Prime. So that's definitely a bit of a bummer. It's kind of like one of those you won and lost at the same time. So we're talking about these divisions. Who do you think, looking at the lineups here, who do you think changed the dynamic of their division? And this could be, and we've seen teams run away from Prime, definitely not this season, but, we've seen teams run away from Prime. We saw the NFC East fill up really fast because we think that, those guys really want to play against each other. So who do you think changed the dynamic of their division? And we'll start with you, Q.
I'm going to actually say Dom changed the dynamic of the NFC North. We had Lawyer and Future, all guys that have represented the playoffs at least once, of course, last Madden. Some had a few success in the playoffs, but not the success we'd all like. But I think adding somebody that's made the Super Bowl, adding somebody that didn't get talked about a lot but has a lot of success last cycle in his stint that he had so far with Carolina. I think Dom joining late to the NFC North adds firepower to that division and a lot of balance. Like Matt said, I think on a show a couple days ago, that it's a untalked about division that's kind of deep if you think about it and you look at the teams and or the users, I should say. So I'd say Dom changed the dynamic of the NFC North.
Yeah, I can definitely get on board with that. I think that's actually one of my most intriguing divisions. I think definitely most intriguing in the NFC. You've got you obviously with the Lions. I'm going to end up favoring you to win that in most seasons, but not early. Obviously, you have some work cut out for you early. Lawyer is, a very solid and underrated player, previous SML champion. We saw D-Muse, tons of success last season. And honestly, Future gave a lot of top players tough games. He played Dan pretty tough all cycle, so obviously he's, pretty used to playing elite talent. So, that's going to be a very interesting division to watch. Rowan, what are you thinking on this? Who sticks out to you looking at these divisions?
Just looking at it, not being able to follow a ton of storylines recently. Obviously the first thing that jumped off the paper to me, because I was coming in blind, was Prime, and obviously that's going to change a lot of things when he goes anywhere but Indianapolis, let alone to Kansas City.
Oh,
but
yeah.
That's the obvious choice. But aside from that, just looking dynamic-wise, I see a little interest there in Bomber taking the Browns. That was kind of a pick that a lot of people saw coming, but I think him taking the Browns caused the Ravens, Bengals, and Steelers maybe to fall a little bit because, the Ravens and Bengals aren't miserably bad rosters when you look at it. And just looking at October and Spooky, those are two teams that a little deeper down in the draft order. So I think Bomber taking the Browns might have scared some people off of that division just because, when you watch someone win a season's cycle series over Prime, that will cause a little fear. But then, it's also interesting because you have people who go after Prime in the AFC West. So obviously Prime did. I think Bomber did. I think them 1-2 laying the footworks changed a little bit of everything because it made people want to chase Prime, and then it made people at 2 run away from Bomber.
Yeah, definitely. And if you go back and watch that team draft at all, you really just watch the first pick when Prime actually announces that he does take the Chiefs. Watching the comment section was one of the funnier parts of the entire night. That was go on, Q.
No, I was agreeing again. Just no, I'm with you. All right.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely hectic in there for a while. It honestly felt like we had 200 people in the stream just with how many comments were pouring in. So that was definitely exciting to watch. For me, I'm gonna go with I feel Meats changed the dynamic, but not of his division, which I think was expected. I think Clink talked about it a little bit on our first episode. I think he was kind of expected to be a guy that people would avoid. Then he took the Dolphins, and I jumped in there real quick at the chance for the Bills, and I think this really changed the dynamic of the NFC South. So Woods ends up with the Panthers, which then meets rerouted to go to the Dolphins. And really, I was kind of looking over there, and I think with Woods as the Panthers, it kind of opened up what is another very intriguing division to me. The Saints fell very far. Clink ended up scooping them up right in front of Dom, poor guy. Paulie ends up with the Bucks because from there Figs didn't want to follow me into the AFC East to take the Pats, so he then ended up taking the Niners, and that allows Paulie to swoop in with the Bucks, and then two-step took the Falcons. So I feel like there was a bit of a chain reaction with that, and it kind of made for a very interesting division that I probably wouldn't have guessed that these four guys would have ended up playing each other. So I'm very excited to see how that one kind of turns out. It's definitely a tough one to even pick a winner. Um, it's also going to segue us into our last bit here, quick hitters. We're just going to go through these divisions, and we're going to give some season one predictions, who's going to win, and we're also just going to go off and name 1 through 4. We had a couple shows do who's going to win each season, how many. I think it was that the new M&M in the morning that gave tallies for division championships. So we're just going to stick with one season, and we're going to go 1 through 4. We do have a little bit of time here, so I'll let everybody get their shot. We'll stick with Q. We'll stick with your division. So we'll have you start. Give me season 1 through 4 in the NFC North.
NFC North season 1. I'm gonna go Dom season 1, number 1. I'll go number 2, Lawyer in Green Bay. Number 3, Future in Chicago, and I'll go be number 4 is Detroit.
Interesting. So you think you're just going to tank the whole thing?
Tanking was never mentioned. I just don't think I'm going to be able to compete. And if I lose, I lose.
Fair enough. I mean, it definitely benefits the Lions to lose early, no doubt. Winning early on, you really have to hope that if you're going to have a very good season, you definitely have to hope that Colt kind of bombs it with the Rams, because you definitely don't want to be picking in the 20s that first season with a young Lions roster rocking Jared Goff. So Keegan, what are you thinking for the NFC North here?
Yeah, I got Q1, opposite of what he has himself at.
It's totally changing
Dom,
the whole thing.
Yeah, just flipping around. Dom 2, Future 3, and Lawyer 4.
Okay, I definitely see that. I'm gonna go in between both of you. I'm gonna stick with Q in that I think Dom wins at season 1. Vikings are definitely a good team early. He's shown that he can manage a quarterback like Cousins. I think Lawyer takes second. I think you finish third. I think you're gonna win just enough games because you're also gonna be rocking fourth place schedule, playing a lot of other weaker teams. So
That's true.
So yeah, I think you'll be settling in at third, get a couple wins that you probably don't want, and then Future I think is going to bring up the rear with the Bears as he develops Justin Fields. So we're gonna move on. NFC South. Why don't you lead us off with this one, Keegan?
Let's see the South. All right. So this one I'll go with Poly 1, Blink 2, Woods 3, and Terrible 2-Step 4.
Okay, definitely. As Q sounds like he's driving down the highway here. This is
Yeah, I got some anarchy behind me.
yeah, this is unbelievable. I mean, here, I'll let you mute yourself for a little bit, and then I'll take over for this one. I definitely agree. I think Paulie wins this one, season 1. I think Clink comes in as a sneaky 2. I was playing him the other day with the Saints, and their home field advantage is actually kind of crazy, and he was looking pretty good slinging the ball with Jameis. So I'm going to go Clink at 2. I think Woods comes in at 3 as he manages Sam Darnold, and then Terrible 2-Step brings up the rear. So what are you thinking here, Q? Finish this out in the South.
I'm gonna go actually my guy Clink. I'm gonna say that defense is underrated, and he's a really underrated defender. I think he's gonna make Demario Davis really good. Year 1, he's gonna definitely eat with him, and he might be able to use Jenkins in the sub linebacker as well. I don't know his speed, but so I'm gonna go Clink number 1. I'm gonna go Paulie 2. I think that he kind of has to figure out how to play. I know it's his boy Brady. but I don't know if he's ever had a quarterback like Brady. So I'm gonna have Paulie number 2. I'm gonna go Woods 3 with the Panthers. Like you said, he's kind of settling in with Darnold. The rest of the skill players are amazing, but he's gonna kind of have to get used to Darnold. And then
Yep.
number 4, two-step is the Falcons. So number 4, I'll go two-step.
Poor two-step, man. The clean sweep coming in at 4, but
Sorry.
I mean, at least Kyle Pitts will probably have a fun season. So
Yeah,
we'll go over to the NFC East here. I'll lead this one off. This is the tough one to call. I think NYT takes it season 1 with the football team. Obviously, some interesting factors there with whatever happens with Fitzpatrick, but it sounds like he's been on the phones for a quarterback, so we'll see there. Then I think Grams comes in at number 2 with the Cowboys, Tiny at 3 with the Eagles as he tries to dev a little bit, and then I think KJ with the Giants. But don't sleep on KJ this year. I can see him, maybe challenging for a title at some point. So don't sleep on KJ. Kia, what do you think for this one?
I'm gonna go with my guy Grams as number 1. I think this is his season to have that confidence booster back in for his mental. He had a tough go last cycle. He was behind a couple guys that kind of had his number. So I'm gonna go Grams, starting out hot, year 1. I'm gonna go NYT, like you said, his defense, and I think he's I think he's actually a pretty good user as well, if I remember correctly. And him having the new rookie, Jammin White, his name Jammin White, I think.
I think that's close enough.
Close enough.
Yeah.
But he's a fast linebacker, kind of like a Micah Parsons. Not quite as fast, but really fast still for a middle linebacker. I think he's going to utilize him well. And then I do also have. Oh, here they go again. I also have probably Tiny as the Eagles. I think he still pulls it out over his. I think it's his brother-in-law KJ. I think KJ's schedule and KJ's, just unfortunately, I think he's going to go 4th.
Yeah. And wrap us up, Keegs.
Yeah, I think I got Grams going 1. Grams seems to start the cycle off better before he drafts 74 cornerbacks and wide receivers. So I think he'll, when his team has an adequate number at every position, he'll have a decent good first season to get first. We'll take NYT in 2nd, and then I think I'll take KJ in 3rd. Speed kills, and there's a lot of it on that roster, and you don't have to be great to tell him to run straight and press button. So I think speed kills. He'll find enough games to win, and Tiny will tiny it up in the first year and come in 4th.
All right, and now do your thing, and then start us off in the NFC West here. Round out the NFC.
This one's pretty straightforward. Dump's going to be 1. I'll take Noel 2 based off his previous history of having a decent good season. I'll take Colt 3 with the Rams, and do I even have to say who's 4th? It's going to be Figs.
I love it. I love having Rowan on shows here. It's a good time. Kia, what are you thinking?
Yeah, definitely going to boost the ratings and probably get some DMs from the admins.
Oh, yeah. People will be talking for sure.
Yeah. I'm going to go with, like you guys said, Dump as the first. Number 2, I'm actually going to go Fig. I think that defense helps him out already in year 1. Number 3, who's even in? I'll go Noel as the Seahawks, and then number 4, because I need you, Colt. Please just lose. I'll have you 4th.
That's definitely some wishful thinking in that pick, but I can't hate it.
Yeah.
Definitely agree. I don't think there's any doubt that Dump wins this division. He might clean sweep it, honestly. It's only happened, I think Meat said 5 or 6 times in the SML, but I think we could see another one this cycle. Second is tough to call. It's definitely between Figs or Noel for me. I'm going to say Figs just because I think that season 1, the teams matter the most, and the Niners are just unbelievable. And right now, I don't think he can trade any of his superstars yet. So Figs at 2. I'm going to say Noel comes in at 3. And then Colt rounds things out with the Rams in 4th. So that's going to knock out the NFC. Q, start us out with the AFC North. Or maybe don't. Maybe Rowan start us out with the AFC North.
All right.
Oh, shit, I'm talking on mute.
There he is. He's talking on mute.
I was talking on mute. My fault. AFC North, I'm going to go number 1, Bomber. Number 2, I'm going to go with Matt as the Steelers. Number 3, I'll go with I'm not even gonna lie. I don't even know who's in this
October is the Ravens and Spooky is the Bengals.
I'll go with the Ravens as number 3, and I'll go with number 4 as whoever the
Spooky and the
Bengals
Bengals, yeah,
yeah,
Bengals.
Bengals.
The old
My fault.
Bungles. No, you're good. You're good. I'm definitely going to agree with you on that order. I think Matt's going to be able to push for some division titles, especially once people start to figure out defense a little better. But I'm going Bomber season 1 for sure. Matt definitely comes in second, and then I just definitely agree with you. I think Ravens. I think Lamar is going to win enough games by himself, and then Spooky's kind of got an uphill battle with the Bengals. They're a pretty bad roster, and Joe Burrow kind of got dogged. So I'm going to say Spooky brings up the rear there as he also adjusts to not playing on, Syria time or wherever the heck he was. Rowan, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Bomber Matt 1-2. I think Spooky and October are actually going to have the same amount of wins and losses. It's going to come down to a tiebreaker. And I got Spooky coming in third with October rounding it up.
I like it. Change it up a little bit. Call it tie. That's pretty nice there. So we talked about it earlier. AFC South. What do we think? Q, kick us off.
AFC South. This is that division. I'm gonna go with Field number 1. I'm gonna go Coop number 2, Mike number 3, and who took the Texans?
ZZ.
ZZ. I'll take ZZ as number 4.
Rowan, what are you thinking?
So I think no one deserves to win this division.
That's probably fair.
We should just call it a wash. Give their playoff spot to literally anybody else in the conference. But since someone has to win, Mike, and it pains me to say that, Mike will come in first. Coop will come in second. ZZ will come in third, and Field will come in fourth, I guess. Yeah. Well, ZZ with his hometown Texans, so he'll have something to prove. I got him coming in third, and Field coming in fourth.
I can't lie. After watching some of the scrimmages, ZZ might be really freaking good at Madden 22. He has beat the brakes off of a couple of people. So we'll see if that translates. The Texans are horrible, so that might might hold him back. But I'm gonna say I think you boys are sleeping on Coop. I think Coop wins the division. Definitely no bias based on his team. From my standpoint, I think Field comes in second. I think ZZ comes in third. Mike brings up the rear as he probably struggles with that pretty rough Colts roster and sees why Prime said, no thanks, not this year, not doing this again. But then I will say, double prediction on this one. I think that the person who ends in fourth will then win the next season, and that will continue every single season. So I think Mike then will win in the next season, and then whoever comes in fourth will then win season 3, and so on and so forth until we're done. So I'll lead us off with the AFC East, my own division. I will naturally pick myself to win. Not lacking in self-confidence there, and if I was, well, I don't know. I don't really know why I'd be doing this. I will say that Meats then comes in second. I think we're going to have a couple close battles. It's going to be interesting defending that all the speed on the receiver on that team. He's also got a good amount of speed on defense, so they're not a pushover team for sure. So we'll have some battles, but I think I come in first. I think Meats comes in second. DW comes in third with the Jets, and then Chris plays about 2 games with the Pats, realizes they are just horrendo, cuts everybody, and tries to rebuild the whole thing. Q, what are you thinking on that?
Yeah, everything that you just said, actually, of that exact list. I'll go with you, number 1. I'll go with Meats, number 2, DW, number 3, and Chris. Unfortunately, he had the tough draw with the Pats.
Yeah, it's an uphill battle for sure.
Yeah, especially when he devs up Mac Jones. That'd be fun to see if he could do that.
Yes.
Nice challenge.
Yeah, definitely agree. Keegan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I got you number 1 for this season and every season of the cycle in that division.
Oh, the sweep!
Because I know that the only legitimate threat there is Meats, and I know that I will want to throw myself off of the Rocky statue if you lose to Meats in division. I know you will want to throw yourself off the Rocky statue as well, because it's Meats, and who wants to lose to Meats? So I got
just find me drowned in cheesesteaks.
Drowned in cheesesteaks. And then I got DW3, and then Chris is just kind of got the short end of the stick out of 32 sticks there for the Patriots.
Yeah, if you even want to call the Pats a stick in compared to the 31 others, they were a rough spot for sure. So last division here, we got the AFC West. It's the Hell division, plus Fins. So Keegan, start us off with this one. What do you think?
Let's see. What can I say to rile people up here? Let's go.
Pretty
with
much probably anything.
Dan 1,
That'll do it.
RD 2.
That'll definitely do it.
Fins 3. No. 3 and Fins 4. Is this maybe a slight fabrication? Maybe. Do I get my voice heard much more? Not often. So maybe I just need to let everyone know, and especially the one person who I have coming in third know. But I think Prime may play a little too risky season 1. Try to really air it out. Maybe make a mistake here or there. He's got 2 smart guys that he gets to see twice a year. And I think maybe first year they'll edge him, and he might be put under a little pressure. But I think I'll go Dan RD Prime Fins.
Okay, all right, I'm with it. I can't wait to see the comments on that. I'll be sure to screenshot them and let you know. Q, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Prime. Just the team for year 1, especially. I'm gonna go Prime. First year, I'll go. I think that they're gonna split. I feel like they're gonna almost tie. Their records are gonna be identical. I'm gonna go Dan 2, RD 3, and then of course Fins. He did it to himself. I'm gonna go Fins 4. Unfortunately, every year.
Yeah, Finn's kind of fell on his sword on this one, but I mean, I respect him all the more for it. So yeah, he's definitely coming in fourth in this one, probably throughout. It would pretty much take a miracle, I think, for him to ever come in third. But it's okay, Finns. We love you. Great job. Rooting for you. Have a little bit of fun. Tough division to call, for sure. I can see Keegan's point. I think Prime might have a few games where he's like, oh, maybe I can't just chuck the ball into the end zone every play. Maybe I have to dial it back a little bit. I don't think it's going to be enough. I think he wins the division. I think Dan comes in second, and I think RD is feeling the Raiders just a bit behind those two teams. I think that's going to hurt him early. So I'm going Prime Dan, RD, Fins. And that's going to do it. We're going to wrap up the divisions here. I think we're in for an interesting season. It's going to be a lot of fun. And that's all we got for you today, SML. So boys, thank you for joining me. Q, obviously, we'll be doing plenty more of these.
Yes,
Rowan,
sir.
thank you for jumping in. I'll be sure to get
sir.
you in a couple more of these, no doubt. I'm sure the people will love and hate it at the same time.
Of course, anytime my voice can be heard, I'm a happy individual.
I love it. So that's going to do us for us here. Thank you guys for listening, and we will see you next time.